geography. And just to say a really warm welcome to all of you for coming today to our alumni from the 1950s onwards and across all of our programmes, geography, geology and environmental science, and also to former colleagues who worked here, some for many, many years. It's a real pleasure to welcome you all back and to meet you. I really hope you'll enjoy the day. I'm going to say more about geography at Queen Mary in the first session after lunch, but I want to draw your attention at this point just to the displays that we have in the Octagon, so please do go and have a look at them. Lots of material from the archives, lots of photographs of year groups, some past exam papers, and lots of reminiscences to have a look at as well. And also, just to talk through the things that you've got in your pack. So you've got a programme for the day, you've got 2 of our recent newsletters, so you have an idea of what we're doing currently in the school. And also, just to draw your attention to these 3 cards that are in your pack. And it would be wonderful if you could fill these out while you're here. We have a memory board at the back, and we'd love you to fill these out as fully or as briefly as you like, and just stick them up. There are drawing pins on the board. They're asking my favourite memory from my time at Queen Mary, after graduating from Queen Mary, what have you gone on to do, and also about the person who inspired you most. So it'd be wonderful if you could fill these out. Our student ambassadors are going to go around and hopefully also encourage you to do that, and we'd love to gather your memories. Also, there are displays here from our Green London project, which our first year students do in their very first week of studying at Queen Mary. So all of our students, and this was the project they did a couple of years ago, when between them they visited every single borough in London, doing a project about the amount of green space. So it's really interesting the photographs that the students took. So fieldwork is something that matters, again, from day one. I'm sure lots of you have very, very fond memories of the field trips that you went on when you were studying here. Just a couple of very brief housekeeping announcements. The toilets are on the ground floor. If you go out this door and turn left, or that door and turn right, they're on the ground floor, and also some others further up the stairs. If there's a fire alarm, we're not expecting a practice, so even if it was a practice, we'd still need to obviously evacuate. So there are 2 fire exits at that door and that door, and then we gather in Geography Square. But at this point, I'm really delighted to introduce Sir Nicholas Montagu, who is the chair of our council at Queen Mary, and Nick's going to say a few words to welcome you back to Queen Mary. Thanks very much.
Alison, thank you very much indeed. And you've already sounded the cautionary note by saying how dangerous it is to keep geographers from their lunch. So I too will be brief. But I'm absolutely delighted to echo Alison's welcome to you all. It's tremendous to see so many of you back here, and I very much enjoyed circulating, crashing in as the unwelcome intruder and talking to a number of you. We've not always been as good in the past as we should have been about keeping up with our alumni. We're doing better, and with you, we're determined to keep on with that, doing better. I could bore for an hour or more about Queen Mary, because I confess, in the 8 years or so that I've been Chairman of Council, I have become besotted with it. But I wanted to look to the future, after a brief reference to the present. Talking to those of you who graduated a long while ago, the university was, well, it was very much a college of the university in hundreds. Now we are, in actual fact, a university of 21,000 in the top 10 for research in the United Kingdom among multidisciplinary universities, and a place to be reckoned with. Again, unrecognisable to our longest-standing alumni, the only central London university with a proper campus. Just one bit of boasting. When our Director of Communications went off to an international conference a few years ago with the guy who does the league tables for Times Higher Education, he said, completely unsolicitedly, and he has no explanation, of course Queen Mary is the most exciting university in the UK at the moment. What makes it so? I think the combination is, at least in part, the heady combination of that extreme research excellence and never having, since our foundation in the 19th century, lost sight of our roots in the East End and the importance of engagement with our local communities and, more widely, with what is now called widening participation. Of the universities in the Russell Group, we actually save the English average. It would look pretty dreadful otherwise. 89% of our undergraduates come from state schools, 66% of our undergraduates come from minority ethnic backgrounds. I'm vastly proud of that combination with our scholarship, and it is the fundamental character, and it's the character we're going to preserve. It's challenging times for universities. There are huge legislative and regulatory changes coming with the Higher Education Bill. There is the vote to leave the European Union, which was particularly disastrous for the higher education sector, and we don't quite know what it's going to mean. But the other thing that characterises Queen Mary is it's so strongly international. 30% of our students come from overseas, and we are determined to preserve our scholarship, our public engagement, as well as our widening participation. Simon Gaskell, our principal, was at a ceremony in Bristol last night to receive a Watermark award from the National Coordinating Committee for Public Engagement. We are the only university in the UK to have received that, and we got it at the highest gold level. I'll be brief, but I do just very briefly, as part of that, want to mention one or two things looking to the future. I've been talking a lot about widening participation. We've become very conscious that it's not enough simply to make sure that everybody, regardless of background, who has the ability to study here is able to. But there is still a levelling of the playing field to be done at the point where they leave university, by way of building their social capital. And we are developing the Queen Mary model, which will build in from next year to all undergraduate courses without sacrificing any academic rigour, various modules which will enable them to build their social capital. It's pioneering, it's exciting, it's going to work, and you'll hear about it as the Queen Mary model in future years. On the international front, we are determinedly and almost frenetically active. The School of Geography was a very important part of a delegation that Simon led to India 3 weeks ago, and I'm delighted to say that at a time when getting able Indian students is a real problem, not least because of the government's obdurate refusal to exclude students from the migration total, we have recruited more Indian students than we ever have before. And finally, I want to mention what is quite literally an exciting, and it's not overusing that overused word, project for life sciences up at Whitechapel. This will bring together all three of our faculties in a project at the heart of which lies large-scale genome sequencing of tens of thousands of the population of London's East End, one of the neediest and most diverse populations in the country, which has the potential radically to transform our understanding of our their health needs and our ability to meet them. I mention those three because they give you a feel for the kind of dynamism and the kind of sense of direction that Queen Mary has. I also mention them because all three of them are examples of where your school, the School of Geography, is at its most active. Many of the things that we will be doing in the Queen Mary model are already done in the School of Geography. I mentioned the stunning success of geographers on the delegation to India. And life sciences, I said it draws together all three faculties. It stands to reason. If you're looking at things that centrally involve a community, a population, geography is at the heart of it. So I'm delighted you've come back. I'm delighted that you're having the opportunity to hear more and see more, and there is nobody better than Philip Ogden at telling you about the campus and showing you. Do stay in touch, and do please, please support us. I'm not holding out the begging bowl, though if you want to fill it, I'm not going to refuse it. I'm talking about the wider support that our alumni can give us as well. I'm talking about things like helping to mentor students, helping within the context of the Queen Mary model to make or to facilitate internships or work experience. I'm talking also about talking us up, about being ambassadors for us, because we are terrific. People who know us know that we're terrific. In general, people in the sector know we're terrific. But to too many people, we aren't as widely known as we should be. In many of your day, we were a fun little college down at Mile End. Nowadays, we're a great deal more than that, and we want the world to know it. But what I want more than anything else is for you to have a terrific day with us